My name's Gareth Meadows. I'm a Detective Chief Inspector in Derbyshire Police and I was the Senior Investigating Officer on Operation Rosebank. That was the investigation and police response into a horrific stranger rape and attack on a lone female in Ilkeston on the 26th of November last year. A horrendous attack by any measure. At court recently we had a successful outcome. The offender had been identified through our work as Anthony Dealey. He was convicted on all 4 charges laid against him. It was a fantastic result and I'd like to talk about 3 things as a result of that. The first is, I'd really like to talk about the victim. It's hard for me to keep calling this lady the victim, but for reasons of anonymity, I must do so. She was incredibly brave throughout this investigation. She came to us as soon as she could. She told us everything that she could remember despite having blacked out. She assisted in our media appeals by doing an interview with the media. She assisted in us making a reconstruction of the event. She assisted us with artists' impressions to try and find out what the man looked like. She even came to court when the verdict was delivered by the jury and stared her attacker in the face as he was found guilty on all 4 counts. A really amazing individual, and above anybody else who was involved in this work, I'd like to recognise her involvement. This wasn't just about getting justice for her, but it was about taking a dangerous man off the streets of Derbyshire and protecting our fellow citizens. That victim enabled that to happen. So fantastic from the victim. The second thing that I'd like to talk about is the people of Ilkeston. We really didn't know who'd done this attack. Despite initial weeks of usual investigative actions being undertaken, there were no clues and there was nothing that really led to a clear suspect. So it meant us having to ask for information through an extensive media campaign, which I've already touched on. It required us to go out to the men of Ilkeston and ask them to give us the fingerprints and the DNA on a voluntary basis, totally voluntary, and hundreds did so. That allowed us to rule people out, to create an ever-dwindling pool of people who could have been responsible, and this ultimately led us to Anthony Dealey. So a fantastic result from the people of Ilkeston who stood up when one of their own had been attacked. Lastly, I would like to recognise the really hard work that Derbyshire Police and its colleagues put in. This was a real whodunit. In terms of the work, it was 7 times the size of a typical murder inquiry. There were people involved from right across the force, from our forensic service providers, the scientists, from regional units, both police officers and police staff, and it really was a team effort, and it took lots and lots of people, lots and lots of hard work over 6 months to identify who'd done this attack, and then with the Crown Prosecution Service to secure the conviction, which is now meaning somebody's been brought to justice, Anthony Dealey, and the people of Derbyshire are a lot safer now he's behind bars.